Ellipse by rectangle or oblong method. In this video, we will see how to draw an ellipse by the rectangle method. These are the instructions to draw. Draw an ellipse in a rectangle with a base of 120 mm and a height of 80 mm. This means we have to draw an ellipse inside a rectangle having a 120 mm base and 80 mm height. Here, we can see this 120 mm is the major axis of an ellipse and 80 mm is the minor axis. To draw this ellipse, first, we need to draw a rectangle of 120 mm base and 80 mm height. Take a ruler and draw a horizontal line of 120 mm in length. Next, draw a vertical line of 80 mm in length and construct a rectangle. Name this rectangle A, B, C, and D. After this, we need to divide this rectangle into 4 equal parts. We know this length is 120 mm, half of this will be 60 mm. Mark a point 6 cm from point A. Similarly, mark a point 60 mm away from point D. Name these points as R and S. Join these 2 points, R and S, with a line. Next, we know the height is 80 mm, half of 80 mm will be 40 mm. Take a ruler and mark 40 mm from the top. Name this point as P. Similarly, mark another point on this vertical line at 40 mm. Name this point as Q. Join these 2 points. Mark this intersection point at the center as O. Therefore, we got 4 equal parts of this rectangle. In each rectangle, 1/4 of an ellipse will come. To get this 1/4 of an ellipse, we have to divide this line into equal divisions. The number of divisions can be anything, we just have to remember that each division should be equal in length. Since we know the length of this line is 60 mm, therefore, each point will be 15 mm or 1.5 cm away. Using a ruler, mark points at 1.5 cm. Name these points as 1, 2, and 3. Similarly, we have to divide this vertical length into 4 parts. Since this length is 40 mm, therefore, each point will be 10 mm or 1 cm away from the other. Take a ruler and mark points at 10 mm lengths. After marking these points, do the naming 1 dash, 2 dash, and 3 dash. Next, we need to join all these points to point R. After this, we need to draw lines from point S to this inclined lines, passing through these points. Make sure these lines are passing through points 1, 2, and 3, and are intersecting these lines, 1-R, 2-R, and 3-R respectively. If we join these points, P, R1, R2, R3, and R, we get 1/4 of an ellipse. Next, to get another 1/4 of an ellipse, we will follow the same process. Take a ruler and divide this QC length into 4 parts. Each part will be 1 cm in length. Name these points as 1 dash, 2 dash, and 3 dash. Next, divide this OQ length into 4 divisions. Each division will be 1.5 cm in length. Mark these points as 1, 2, and 3. After this, join these points to this point R. Take a ruler. Draw a line from point S to this line 1-R, passing through point 1. Mark this intersection point as R6. Next, draw a line from point S to this line 2-R, passing through point 2. Mark this intersection point as R5. At last, draw a line from point S to this line 3-R, passing through point 3. Mark this intersection point as R4. If we join these points, R, R4, R5, R6, and Q, we get the second 1/4 of an ellipse. Similarly, follow the same steps on the remaining 2 rectangles. Divide this line PA into 4 parts, and name these points as 1 dash, 2 dash, and 3 dash. Next, join these points to point S. And draw a line from point R to this line 1-S, passing through point 1. Mark this intersection point as S1. Next, draw a line from point R to this line 2-S, passing through point 2. Mark this intersection point as S2. At last, draw a line from point R to this line 3-R, passing through point 3. Mark this intersection point as S3. If we join these points, P, S1, S2, S3, and S, we get a third 1/4 of an ellipse. At last, divide this line QB into 4 parts, and name these points as 1-, 2-, and 3-. Next, join these points to point S. And draw a line from point R to this line 1-S, passing through point 1. Mark this intersection point as S6. Next, draw a line from point R to this line 2-S, passing through point 2. Mark this intersection point as S5. At last, draw a line from point R to this line 3-R, passing through point 3. Mark this intersection point as S4. If we join these points, S, S4, S5, S6, and Q, we get the fourth 1/4 of an ellipse. To get an ellipse, we have to join all these points. Draw curves using a French curve. This is our final ellipse. I hope you have understood how to draw an ellipse by the rectangular or oblong method.